And tonight we're here to discuss an even matter that addresses an even younger demographic, and that's gender and how it undermines education and the family. The European Union seems to have an obsession with gender, but what do we even understand by this term? So until quite recently, gender was about propagating women's equality and of certain minority groups. But recently what we see is new identities coming up from seemingly nowhere. They're multiplying like mushrooms in the rain. And they're taking center stage in European policy and social discourse, despite nobody knows where they come from or what sort of numbers they represent. So this development is especially harmful for two areas, and that's education and family life. So traditionally, these are sites where the younger generation is being formed and instructed, so we give our knowledge over to them. And yet now what we see is that ideas such as being born in the wrong body reach innocent children in school, often without the authorization or even the knowledge of their parents. They're targeted by TV programs and commercials, so we have to ask the question: is this really about the promotion of equality and acceptance, or is there something completely different at play here? I would like to talk very briefly about the family, because we all come from families, and many of us construct our own families at some point in our lives. And yet, while individual decisions and life paths should always be respected, there is an alarming trend in Western society where we seem to turn away from the family. This can be seen in all kinds of, at all levels, such as, parents losing the respect of their children, and young people proudly declaring that they won't reproduce. And my question is, how did we as a society come to distrust one of our fundamental institutions, and what is the role of politics in all of this? I come from Hungary, and many of you know that that's a former socialist country. Abortion was legalized by the Soviets for us, and this happened a little bit earlier than in most Western societies. And of course, the Soviets didn't do it because they were such great believers in women's rights or women's liberation or individual freedoms. No, they simply wanted women to join the workforce and work low-paid jobs such as factory work. The current Hungarian government is doing something quite different. They made the support of families as one of their priorities. And the idea behind this is quite simple. If we accept that we are free to choose our path in life, then that should mean that if somebody desires to have a family, which could be even a large family, such as 3 or more children, then finances should not be an obstacle. So nobody should be condemned to poverty just because they want to have children. And a couple of measures that the Hungarian government is taking, some of them are financial incentives. So, for instance, you can get tax exemptions and interest-free loans to buy a new house or a car or renovate your house. And another type of measure is the protection of families. And a key thing to that is giving the authority to parents to raise their kids the way they see fit without politics and other institutions talking into it. Thankfully, these measures are very successful. Yes, they're showing up in the statistics, even though they've been in place for only a couple of years. But year by year, we have more marriages, more children being born, and people from countries like the US and France are coming to learn from us Hungarians about family policy. And yet, Europe is not happy about it. So